at training this morning, looked like everybody was out there. Do you think anybody's limited or won't feature on Saturday?
No, everybody who trained today is available for selection for the weekend, yeah. So, pretty good.
How much did the break kind of help you guys recharge and get yourself focused for a pretty big stretch here?
Yeah, they had a bit of a break, they had a few days off, came in a few days and then had another break as well. But since we've been back, they've been really bright. So the lead into this game against DC, the players have been really bright. Buoyed obviously by the victory, in the last game away from home, and looking forward to 2 home games now.
How do you keep that edge off of an emotional victory like Atlanta was, and permeate that going into Saturday, making sure there's nothing like rust or a hangover or anything like that?
We have to make sure there's no complacency at all. We know it wasn't the perfect game from ourselves. We managed to get a really good victory with 2 good goals from Liel. But we know that we have to be better in certain other things. So we've been working on that, and we know there's lots of room for improvement. I think that will stop the complacency anyway.
Having the ability to select from a full squad is not something you've had many opportunities to do this season. How much more difficult does that make your decision making come Saturday?
Makes it difficult, but as I've always said, that's what I'm paid to do. Make them tough decisions. I want a full squad to choose from. Because it gives me the best options and the opportunity to pick what I believe is going to be the right team for this game.
What do you know about DC?
Only what I've seen. We've obviously looked at the last few games. There's a lot of question marks over a number of players. So I think for me to worry about them and think about what they're going to play and who's going to play would be wrong, because I could get it wrong 5 times over. So the best thing for me is just to concentrate on ourselves. Talk about what their big dangers are, and try to stop that.
I know Jose made his announcement yesterday about his departure. What can you say about your time working with him? I know it was not a full season, but I know that you can lean on him, and obviously the tutelage he had for a lot of your first teamers.
Yeah, he came over on pre-season with us to Miami. I've really enjoyed working with him, watching how he, coaches and develops, the legacy players. There's been a crossover. He's had an impact certainly on this football club in the short time he's been here, in developing a lot of players, and he can take great pride in the numbers of players that have come through the legacy and are now playing in the first team at Charlotte Football Club. And it's a sad loss, but we understand why he's decided to go. Obviously, back home to his family as well. But we're really appreciative as a football club, and I am personally for his help.
Last one for me. I know you said that Patrick was going into that Atlanta game a little hampered with the ankle. Everything good with him, and I guess how much did the break kind of help him kind of get off his feet a little bit from the pounding he kind of took in New York?
Yeah, no, he's fit and well. He's come through it all okay. He's trained every day since we've come back, so I've got no qualms about him now into the run-up of quite a few games now.
Back to Jose. I mean, he had to work with 3 different coaches. A little bit different philosophies coming through that. When you first came in, and we're looking at what you could bring, possibly bring up from him, how closely did you work with him and discuss, the players? Because I think it's been successful in the number of players that you've incorporated into the first team.
Yeah, I mean, his knowledge of the players that have obviously come through, he's been the one who's pushed that winning culture and, pushed these players to get through to the first team level. This season, Petkovic has started, Tavares has started and scored, João Pedro has started games. So there's a number of players that have come from legacy, and that's on top of the ones who played last year in terms of Privet and Adjumang. And, I think it was really important right from the start that he came on pre-season with us, saw my ideas, and we discussed football in general. And I was never here to tell him how the legacy should play, but we spoke at length about our general philosophies of the game and how we see it being played.
Will that relationship to Kevin?
Well, at the moment, Kevin will take over as the interim coach, and we're all here to help him. It's always tough when, somebody so charismatic has left the club and he has to he steps in as the interim, but we're all here to help him, and Kevin's very able, and I'm sure he'll do a great job.
Got to get him a nice cap to wear.
Yeah, I'm not sure Kev's a Peaky Blinder just yet.
You are. Back to the break too. Can a break be too long in the middle of the season?
It can be. I don't think this one was. I think it was just at the right time for us. It was great the fact that we got the result as well, because it puts you into a break with a spring in the step. But I think it was needed as well at that time. So, I actually didn't realise it was the international break. I was thinking that it was because it was our odd game. I think there's an odd number of teams. So, I flew back to the UK and I was sat there ready to watch DC United play Saturday night, and it didn't appear.
And coming through, I mean, the emotion of the fans and stuff, because we spoke after the game, is that this truly was a derby match like that. With more time to think about it and such, you see the return match being a big event as well.
I'm not sure about the return match yet, but certainly for us, the amount of fans that travelled there, it showed how important it was to them, and I think the way the players worked hard to come back from being a goal down and ended up winning the game shows how important it was for the players to do that for the fans as well.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Adilson and Andrew have started playing together at center back at the end of last season. Obviously, you've come in and continued using them there. Just what have you seen from them? How their relationship grows since you've gotten here, and have you seen them kind of adapt to your system?
Well, I think I've said from all the teams that I've seen so far, and we're 17 games through, halfway through, I think I've not seen a better centre back than Adilson yet, and that's big praise from myself. But I think he's got a lot of characteristics to be a top defender. Yes, he's making mistakes, but I don't think the mistakes affect him, and that's the sign of a top player for me. Anybody who saw Federer's interview the other day is a small piece of that. And Andrew Privet, when I came, people told me he could play 6 or centre. He just looked a centre back to me, and the way he wants to learn and get better, I think their partnership is a credit to them both. I mean, I think they've actually taken meetings themselves, just to do a debrief on the previous game when me and Pa weren't around, and I just think that shows the professionalism and their will to get better.
And then Leal, obviously it's been a minute, but he scored a brace in the last match against Atlanta United. I know he missed a couple games with injuries earlier this season, but how have you kind of seen him settle into the squad, and what have you really seen him bring to this group of attackers?
I think with Leal, with any new player that comes in, there's always going to be an adaptation period. I think his has been shorter than most, if I'm honest. We probably saw the best of what he's going to be, what he can give us. In spells in the game against Atlanta, the finish for the first goal was terrific. His movement during the game was really good, and his second goal with his left foot, he just needed a header for a perfect hat-trick after that, but he wasn't happy because I pulled him off. But he's shown in spells so far what he can give, and what he will become is consistent for us.
But just a quick follow-up. You don't want your players to be happy when you pull them off, do you?
No, I want them to want to stay on. That's for sure. I mean, I was the same. I'd never be happy if you get substituted, and I don't want my players to be. But he showed it in the respect that we both give each other, and he knew it was he'd done his bit, and it was time for people to see the game out.
I know Jamie got subbed on a brace as well.
Yeah.
Right.
We're halfway through the season. You currently sit 5th. What do you make of so far in the season? Are you surprised where you're at in the league?
Again, I've said to you before, I don't really look at the league table, if I'm honest. What I do know is that I'm disappointed in the amount of games that we've lost so far. I think we've lost 6. And in some of them I didn't feel we deserved to get beat, and in others I think there's things that we could have done better. So that's one of the big things that I'm looking at, making sure that we're a team that's really hard to beat. But we've won some good games as well. What we're aiming for is some consistency and to make sure we go on, these winning runs that you can go on that can help you climb up a table very quickly.
And with Copa America and Euros starting, I mean, during this stretch, some of the teams that you play are going to be missing important players. Obviously Miami with Suarez and Messi, Gazdag, another player I can think of. Do you see that as maybe an advantage for Charlotte FC since they don't really have any representation?
I don't really know, and to be honest, all the teams who take these players in, they know that before the season starts. They know that players are going to be unavailable for certain, weekends when there's FIFA windows or Euros or Copa. So they know that before. So I'm sure they've prepared.
Nice. Just a fun one for you to end it. Who's your favorites for the Euros and Copa America?
I think Euros, I've got to go England. I also think France are very strong as well, though. So both them teams are very strong. The Copa, Argentina look really strong. I know Brazil will be pushing as well. But I think I'll go with Argentina.
Nice, thanks.
No
Did
worries.
you watch the game last night, US and Brazil?
I watched it until the last 20 minutes when unfortunately my eyes just, couldn't watch anymore.
The rumors about Charlotte and Tim Ream, who had a tough game against Colombia, had an exceptional game last night. Do you watch him in particular with those rumors?
No, I watched Tim because I know Tim from being over in the UK for so long and him being a good player. But rumours are rumours. There'll be lots of rumours about lots of players during windows. So
You got to feed Jorge's machine.
yeah, there's no need for me to speculate on any other rumours because I've seen too many players who supposedly come in or go in that don't. So until anything's done, then I'll talk about it then.
Go Sam and then Jason.
So, Coach, I'll ask a more direct version of Jorge's question. On July 3rd, when the team faces Inter Miami, would you rather see Messi in their lineup or not?
Well, obviously not, because he's one of the best players in the world. So I'd much rather play a Miami team that hasn't got the best player in the world in it.
So, how was your break?
Yeah, well, actually, it was nice to go home, but it wasn't a good reason because unfortunately we had to put our dog down. Yeah, of 14 years, so that was tough. Yeah.
I'm really sorry about that. Are you comfortable saying a little more about your dog?
Yeah, no, he's picked a lot of teams over the last 14 years, more than he actually knows. A lot of winning teams as well. So
What was the methodology on that?
Sorry.
How did he?
We used to walk an awful lot the morning of a game and decide who was playing. So it's it was tough for the kids because they've had him since they were very young, and he was 14 years old. So it was tough, but it was nice to get back home.
So I wanted to know, with Leagues Cup coming up, given the fact that the team and the squad is still looking for depth in a lot of places, how are you looking to balance having the Leagues Cup competition in there? Do you think that you'll be rotating more Crown Legacy bench players in, or do you think that are you going to be playing to win?
I don't envisage me rotating at all. I will treat each game as it comes as the most important one. So, when it comes around, I think 27th July?
Yes.
July?
27th
Yeah.
July, 31 July.
Yeah, so when games come around, we'll be going all out to try and win them games. I believe the Leagues Cup gives you CONCACAF qualification.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why not go and try and win it? And I always explain to this when you have cup competitions to players, if these players are lucky enough to have a 12-year career, some can get to 16 years, but 12 years on average, and you've only got 3 trophies to win each year, it's 39 opportunities or 36 opportunities to win something. 13 years would be 39. 36 opportunities to win something. So I always think players, should be fired up to go and win things. That's my mentality, always has been. So the Leagues Cup is one of them opportunities where they can win something. So go all out to try and win it.
And then finally, earlier this week I spoke with James and Jono, the brothers from Crown Legacy and the Academy, and we talked about the upcoming theme night next week for Juneteenth, which is a celebration of Black excellence for the team. I wanted to know if you had any thoughts on how important it is to celebrate Juneteenth and fight racism in MLS and football.
I think you can see from where this football club stands, the community already, the programme they put out, the diversity, it's an inclusive football club, and that's one of the reasons why I came here as well. That's really important to me. But the environment that you create is about everybody being equal, and that's why it's so important to support all these causes.
Thanks, Coach. Best of luck on Saturday.
Lovely, thank you.
Yeah, Jason.
Coach Smith, first off, condolences to you and the family on the
Thank you.
family dog. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I want to really touch on, or ask you something you've already touched on, which is consistency. I know that's very important to you. It sounds like the team, in your eyes, still has a ways to go in that regard. But when you come off a break like you had, I mean, there has to be elements of that consistency. In other words, the team picking up right where they left off when you get back to train for the first time. Are you starting to see evidence of that? Yeah,
I'm starting to see a real consistent level in training. You always probably have the standard bearers who are really good trainers every day, and our captain Ashley Westwood is one of them. Adilson is another one. Their standards are really high in training every day, and I think the more players you can get like that who are consistent, they bring the others through. So we're starting to get that, and then you have to put it into matches. You've always got 11 of the opposition trying to stop you, obviously. But if you can get consistency of performance, then you're going to win a lot of games.
From what you know, did most of the players keep up a regimen, during the break?
Yeah, as I say, I staggered the days off for them. I'm not one. I don't like giving them a block of five days off, for instance. And the players always ask me why not, because I never trusted myself when I was that player, so I'm not going to do it for them. So they had a couple of days off, and then they came in and worked hard, and then they had a couple of days off, and then it's the lead up to the game. So I think they've all enjoyed having a bit of a break and being with their families, but they've certainly trained well since they come back.
So there was no real time to lose anything?
No, not at all. Yeah.
Any more in the room? All right, we'll go online. We'll start with Carol.
Hey Dean, how are you?
I'm very well, Carol. You okay?
I'm good. I'm sorry about the dog. What breed and what was his or her name?
He was a Cocker Spaniel, and his name was Charlie.
Oh, Charlie. Does Charlie have any siblings, or are there any other dogs in the
He did. I mean, listen, we took him as a pup, 7 weeks old, I think. So I'm not sure whether he definitely had siblings, but I'm not sure what happened to them.
Not in your family.
No.
So here we are midway through the season. I feel like we've gotten to know you a little bit, and I'm guessing that when you look at over the second half, you see potential in this team, right? So maybe you're excited about what you've left undone.
Yeah, I think I've seen an improvement in the players, not just their ability as technical and tactical, but their understanding, their attitude, their application. And when we're in this learning zone, and whether we're reviewing a game or previewing the next game, there's some real good talking points. So it shows me that they're learning and getting better and developing, and that's what I wanted. And if you've got that, then for me, naturally, there has to be an improvement in the second half of the season now, and that's what I'll be looking for.
What do you think the challenges are that the schedule presents in the second half?
We've got a couple of tough weeks where I think there's 1 week where we play Cincy, Columbus and Houston away, I think it is. So there's 3 road trips. But as I've said, and when people were asking me last week when I was in the UK about the road trips and how hard they are, I said I've quite enjoyed them. Apart from a few of the results, I've actually enjoyed the road trips. I found them okay. No not too dissimilar to the UK. And I think now we've won a couple of games against Chicago and Atlanta. Hopefully, that can change that mentality that I was speaking about before.
What do you tell your friends in the UK about MLS now that you've been halfway through?
Yeah, I've told them it's very enjoyable. It's interesting. It is a little bit different because, from game to game, you don't have the opposition fans so much, with the exception of Atlanta, where there's a bit of banter and singing and noise within stadiums. But no, I think it's a very underrated league as well from people's perceptions.
Do you see it as kind of a fast break kind of play?
Say
back and back?
Say again, sorry?
Kind of fast break where it's up and down a lot.
Yeah, I think as a team we've probably not been as basketballish as a lot of other games I've seen, and that's purposeful. We like to set up as a mid-block for a lot of the games. That didn't work in the first half against Atlanta, and we went higher and went, with a higher press. So I think you can control the tempo of games when you've got a good structure.
And one last one, just with Ben Bender, you feel like he's a tool you can use more, going forward. What do you want to get out of him?
Yeah, no, he's definitely, the fitness levels that he's showing now are getting up there for him to certainly be playing longer and coming off the bench and playing longer. During this period, I'm sure we'll get a game where he either starts for us in the MLS or he has to go and get another game for Legacy. But he's certainly on an upward curve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to Dennis.
Hi, thank you for speaking with us. This is Dennis Gomez from Washington, D.C. Just wanted to know, what are your thoughts on DC United squad and Coach Troy Lesane after reviewing film on them?
Yeah, they've got a certain way that they play. Looking at them without the ball, there's you can see the coach has worked with the Red Bull organisation before, because they've got a similar pressing style in terms of how they want to win the ball back. Obviously, I know of Christian Benteke, who scored a number of goals already this season, but he went off injured in the last game, so he will certainly be a threat if he's playing. So yeah, as I say, they've got a few injuries at the moment, I think, so predicting their team's really tough. So we have to concentrate on what we can do to try and beat them.
And just following up, do you see these weekends as a must-win?
I always see games as must-wins. That's just my mentality.
Thank you.
Cheers, Dennis.